to Love and the Planets, and this is the week of the transits of starting September 25th, and I'm Margaret Gray in Dublin.
And I'm Armand Diaz on assignment in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Well, I hope the weather's a little bit better there than here, Armand. We're definitely into kind of the fall here. So what have we got on this week? We've got kind of a little bit of a mixed bag, haven't we? And we start really with Mercury square Saturn in Sag. So kind of the beginning of the week, really thinking that in relationships, there might be this kind of Saturnian feel a little bit that maybe, I mean, in a way it might be good. It might make us kind of pick our words carefully, but it mightn't be so easy for conversation to kind of flow at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, we might get a little stuck on things, I think. Mercury in Virgo likes to come up with a lot of facts. Saturn in Sagittarius wants to see if it fits into the big picture. But and it's going to certainly affect a lot of other things. But I think that in relationship, I mean, it could be just a little hard to, so, there's a hesitancy when Mercury hits Saturn. There's a sort of, can't exactly let the conversation flow all that much. That's the beginning of the week, though. We should get past that relatively quickly.
Yes, and then of course a really big thing that's happening this week, which is going to really affect everyone, of course, is Pluto turning stationary direct. And of course he's been going retrograde since mid-April. So what's your sense of the shift of this big, planetary energy? Because of course it's so far away from us. It's not like a personal energy, and yet it really does seem to impact us and our relationships.
Well, I think, around the Pluto station, everybody's having a Pluto transit. And so the intensity of it, Pluto station is a no BS type of thing. Actually, maybe the Mercury Saturn at the beginning of the week will help us in some respects, because it will kind of get us thinking seriously about things. But, Pluto stations make us, the bare bones. This is what it is. These are the facts right here.
Yeah, when you kind of think about it, I always think, I associate Pluto very much with Pele, the god of volcanoes, after living in Hawaii. And I often think that, it's almost like this volcano that's rumbling away, and it's almost like, the energy is coming out in a certain way, and then it starts shifting energy. And then, it's almost like we can see the eruptions happening. So maybe it's just, as you say, it kind of brings things more to visibility, which in a way can really suit maybe charts that are more fiery and airy charts, because at least they see what's really going on, how the land lies. Maybe charts that are more earthy and watery might be a little less comfortable maybe with the directness, and sometimes it can feel a little bit harsh. So maybe just to say in relationships, be gentle with each other, because there is this energy that's kind of shifting gears and might be a little bit powerful. And of course, also to acknowledge there's so much going on in the world, and we've said this before, that it's bound to impact everybody on a personal level. And so of course in relationships this can get played out in different ways. So just to kind of keep in mind the basics of kind of respect and compassion and kindness to each other during these times.
On Friday we have Venus opposite Neptune, and that's a very different energy, but it will be, very much we'll be feeling the Plutonian intensity as we have that otherwise sort of dreamy aspect where you can, you can sort of fool yourself or fool somebody else. I think with a Venus-Neptune aspect, I think we can imagine things are much better or worse than they really are. It can be very dramatic kind of emotional time, not necessarily based upon anything realistic.
It could be, but also looking on the good side of it, it's also could be quite romantic. So there is the potential for a little bit of romance at the weekend. It's kind of, probably the best time for it in some ways, rather than the middle of the week. So it might be kind of a nice evening, maybe, at the weekend, the Friday, Saturday, to just, think of doing something nice together, maybe going on a date, having a nice dinner. So it might be quite a nice time to consider that with the Neptune.
We'll have the Aquarius moon, which is waxing at the time. I mean, it's a pretty nice feel. I think on a Friday night, Saturday night, they should be pretty good for socializing, going out and things like that. I think that maybe maybe after the more serious tone earlier in the week, the weekend feels a little bit better.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we've got towards the end of the weekend, we've got Pluto trine Mars. So now that's going to be the last time it's going to do that aspect. April 6th, I think, was the time before. So there's quite a determined energy towards the end of the weekend. I mean, what's your take on this, Armand?
Well, it's not that it's specific to relationships, but Mars trine Pluto is definitely one of, this is an active aspect. This is, we got to do something. And it would be great to, have some way to channel that energy. Maybe a joint project like Mars is in Virgo, so maybe, cleaning out the closets or something like that. Although that's probably not the best thing. Certainly there's a sexual sort of energy to Mars, Pluto. So maybe other things in the closet. So I think that it is, very much a kind of, you got to do something with this energy. This is it's not going to be a sit around on the couch type of weekend. It's not going to feel good if you're not in some way or another kind of active.
So maybe some passion this weekend is really what we're saying. And, just to say that for the whole week, and at the moment, these energies are really so intense that it's really important in relationships, in all our relationships, to really consider, okay, what's going on? How is it impacting me? How can I channel those energies, in a really functional, healthy way so that it doesn't wreck our relationships and that it actually might add to them instead of that. So just to kind of go easy on ourselves and to have some fun at the weekend.
Indeed.
See you next week, Armand. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.